right, and we are back once again today in round number 2, Eternal versus Infinity, as we're going to see a Blight mirror match on the Gas 7, and I am joined today by Avi. How you doing today, Avi?
Doing pretty good. It's super excited for these sets of games because we got two pretty cracked teams going against each other with Blight starting out. So we'll see right now with this chase that the Ace is running for his life in the gas heaven right now. The corrupt zone is that even.
Yeah, Corrupt Zone is not all too bad, of course. Corrupt Intervention blocking 3 generators with the entity blockers. Blight going for a cheeky sweep there, and will get the vacuum pallet underneath the Ace. Ace doing a fantastic job staying upright throughout this entire engagement, and will greet the pallet and pull a Houdini. I think Blight was even a bit surprised by that one.
I noticed that. And I am surprised there's, ooh, nicely done. That palette right there is very tricky, but it seems like a very so much geometry happening in there for Blight. But yeah, we got the dot, we got the dot, we got the we got the Ace down on to the next victim, wherever we can find them.
Yeah, and that was a little bit of agitation, by the way, as we did see the Blight a little bit faster there with the Ace on their shoulder, followed up, of course, by the good old not corrupt. Pop goes the Weasel, regressing that gen by 30% of its current progression.
Cool. Oh yeah, we go back to the hook to go hunt down our Ace again. Let's see if we can try this again with this little tile here. We like this tile.
And Blight trying to do some fancy tricks here, doing a bit of mind gaming in addition to trying to rush there. Did not work out for them. Ace, though, kind of caught between a rock and a hard place here, but will end up going down as BT has since expired. Do also point out that we did see earlier on the kick with Pop a brutal strength, which will break those pallets and kick those gens just a little bit faster. Good news for Ace, though, that is a decisive strike, and we will see them vault out of main, liking a little bit caught there as the pallet will go down at that red car.
Oh man, that DS is so, I want to say slow, but it's so how would I describe it? I mean, it worked out for him at least. So he got out. Yeah, it's so like, you know, it's not what it used to be, of course, but oh man, he got out by a hair.
Yeah, and that looks to be a dead hard as well, granting that Ace the endurance stats effect as a second gen is completed here for these survivors. Ace being forced to take the Shack pallet there, as we do see that gen pretty well progressed. I imagine we will see it completed here, though if it is not, we will see a Pop Goes Weasel hit it for another 30% of its current progression.
Ace, honestly, Ace did pretty dang well because all these gens went by and, oh, what is that? Oh, that was Jake. Oh,
yeah, that was Jake there on that gen. Blight trying to go for a hit here, will narrowly miss it. Jake doing a fantastic job to dodge. I will say, as Ace will be able to get a little bit of distance here, they might be able to take it off their shoulders, though. Looks like they are content with chasing the Jake here and get them off this gen, as it is regressing at 0.3% per second from that try kick.
Yeah, the Ace is trying to book it out of there with his. Ooh, let's see. Will we wiggle? Find out.
It looks like that's a Renato coming in, trying to complete that gen. Want to note that Blight did not kick the gen before going for the pickup. And yeah, Renato coming in. I genuinely think that 2.5% regression, if the Blight had re-kicked the gen, would have been able to get them the pop.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, now his pop is got to be used somewhere else. The probably has no, well, probably got to use it on this one. If anything, if not, save it for another one way back there. We can make it to it. If someone has been diligently working on it. No.
Yeah, it sounds pretty progressive too. And that's the 5th generator. This team doing a fantastic job here against this play. Only 3 hooks in, the unhook incoming, and the hit on what looks to be the Dwight here. All 4 of them injured, but it's looking like this might be a 3-man out.
I think so too. Like, my goodness gracious, they did a fantastic job. Like, those gens flew by. The chase lasted a good amount of time. You thought that it was gonna be over for Ace that soon, but oh, Ace is still alive and breathing and running and probably escaping.
Yeah, I believe so. We do have Dwight here trying their best to stay upright, but will end up going down. We do hear a noise notification off in distance, maybe a failed skill check on a heal.
Yeah. Trying to get some yeah, we got 2 people healed up, so we can potentially get an unhook if they dare, but not once. One's out. Never mind. All of them out. Good choice, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it's clear that there is no deliverance here, at least not for Blight. And 3-man out, but a 1k 6 hook for Blight. Honestly, pretty good result here for the survivors.
That was a really fast match, but it was a really good match with the good chases, good interchange.
All right, and we are back for trial number 2, set number 1, after some technical difficulties. Thank you all for being patient with us as we navigated my PC freezing, OBS crashing. I'm now solo casting as we weren't able to transition back to the duo cast scene. All of the fun stuff. With that being said, we see Rebecca now in chase with the light, dropping the pallet in front of Daimao. And looks like they are going to go for a quick break here on this pallet and go for a bladed rush thereafter. A clean hit on the survivor here, as we are now going to go for another blighted rush, I would imagine, this time at the LT wall. A little bit of mind game there by the Blight, and looks like survivor going to the T-wall, almost mind gaming the Blight right there, but I think they will get the hit here at the window, and sure enough, they will go down. As far as perks are concerned, the only perk that we know of so far is a corrupt intervention. Other than that, no other perks have been revealed. We'll have to wait and see, as this Blight does in fact not have an agitation, which we'll have to see if that is beneficial one way or another. That being said, looks like we will see the gen here going off, and that there will be a pop goes the weasel, regressing that gen by 30% of its current progression. And looks like we will see the injured survivor here in the main building trying to evade the Blight. We see the firecracker. It does not blind the Blight in time, as we will see the pickup here. No pitter-patter of feet, as the first gen will pop off. If we're looking at the scorecard right now, this Blight needs to get either a 2k7 hook or a 1k6 hook with fresh hooks on each individual survivor. So win conditions very manageable right now. The Blight in a fantastic position here as they go for the ace. Swing and a miss right there, but Rebecca with only about 30 seconds or so left on the hook before they progress to death and are sent back to campfire via the entity. We'll see another break there for the Blight, and so far we do see Scratch Marks going for the unhook. That there is the Yui. BT hit on the Rebecca. Unless they go in for a body block, this Blight is going to be in a fantastic position for the tunnel out. Looks like it go further into main. Back to the pallet, and there's the Spirit Fury enduring on the Rebecca. Claudette with the attempt for the people, but it does not happen. That is absolutely insane. This is something that we do not see ever at all, in all honesty. So that there was enduring, followed up by Spirit Fury on Blight. Like, yes, we banned some stuff on Blight for this season, but I was not expecting to see Spirit Fury enduring here. Absolutely insane. And the fact that the Blight was able to get the hit on the Claudette before the people's coming in was also just absolutely huge for the Blight and Infinity, who is going here against Eternal's Survivor team. With that being said, if the Blight ends up camping Claudette to death right now, they'd only need one more hook. Alternatively, they can go for the Ace or the Yui, and if they are able to get a hook on either one of them, that also will secure the win. So that is pretty insane, to say the least. Infinity in a prime position to walk away victorious here in set number 1 against Eternal. And looks like they will end up going for the ace here. Claudette doing a bit of moonwalking away. And we do see the Claudette here. Another hit on the Blighted Rush. I wasn't expecting the hit, but then Enduring coming in too, so the so the Blight does not lose much, if at all, distance. And honestly, the Blight, like, we knew coming into here that this was an insane build, and like, whenever we see Spirit Fury Enduring in comp, it very rarely, if ever, gets value. It's 2 perks that might get enough value for it to be worth it. But here, it's got an insane amount of value, and we do see the Ace taking a hit here. So, honestly, props to Daimao getting value out of this perk combo. The reason why it's not banned is because, honestly, every time that we see it used, it just doesn't perform. So for those of you wondering why it's allowed, because it hasn't really put up numbers, and hey, maybe we found the new meta for Blight here. That'd be insane if we did. That being said, Ace now on the hook for the first time. The Blight needs to find the Yui. If they find and hook the Yui here, that will result in a win here for Infinity. We can see the points getting closer and closer, but Infinity is just starting to get further and away from Eternal's grasp. And with the hook here on the Claudette, honestly, I think this might here alone secure the win if I'm looking at the point totals right now. The second hook on Claudette will end up with 14 points. So it's now, at this point in time, a tie set. 1 hook, 1 stage will have Infinity walking away victorious here in set number 1. And we'll be moving to set number 2 as we see a Plague. Interesting. Not sure if someone just AFK'd, not sure if it was a DC, maybe a slip of the button even. But we do see a death there with Claudette being sent back to Campfire via the Entity. We see Yui here, no Spirit Fury proc there. And looks like we are going to see the Blight go for another rush. Yui, though, staying on the inside of Shaq, vaulting out in front with a light, though, potentially getting to another pallet. Sure enough, Will. No stun there, though it wouldn't matter much with Enduring, and we will see the down at the pallet on Nightlight. So really well played here, as we will see Spirit Fury now activated. Next pallet stun ain't gonna be doing all too much, and at this point in time, Eternal is playing for the tie condition. In the instance, we do go to a set 3. And there is a true tie in set 3. Honestly, I'm kind of excited for set 3 as there is a singularity, though maybe we'll not be able to see that far into the future as our retinas have been burned by the blast mine. And all is left is the Ace, who is injured somewhere on this map. The question is, will they be prioritizing gens or trying to get a heal in some way, shape, or form? I'm not sure if the med kit is out here. If so, that would be the only way, but I think we see a gen completed. And yeah, Ace has the med kit, but they're not going to go for a heal. And that there will be the down on Ace, who will dare to heal in the face of Daimao. And that there's going to be the 4K out. 1 gen remaining, 4 gens completed. Honestly, really well played by both teams, and though a kind of unusual build on Blight, it ended up putting out some work. It only got 1 Spirit Fury activation. Do want to point that out. Only 1 Spirit Fury Enduring activation. Enduring did get some value, though, outside of that. Even though Spirit Fury was only activated once, Enduring got some value and able to get some hits as well as some quick stuns out of the way. So, really well played by both teams, and Infinity walking away victorious here in set number 1. All right, and we are back with trial number 3, set number 2, Infinity versus Eternal. And we are going to be seeing Infinity killing against Eternal Survivor team as the Plague. Interestingly enough, we're going to be seeing a Plague versus a Nurse here in set number 2 on the Coal Towers. They're going to be very interesting, to say the least. With that being said, we do see ourselves a Corrupt Intervention in the mix, as Plague now in chase with the Rebecca, it would seem. They are going to avoid the infection instead, going to take the long way round, as they will get the vault, but going to be infected nonetheless. As far as add-ons concerned, pretty standard add-ons with the apple. However, we're also seeing the hematite seal, which increases object infection duration by 30 seconds. So, gonna be very interesting to see how that plays out in favor of the plague. Though, trying to slow things down, we're also seeing a thanatophobia and a very clean down there by the plague early on. This here will be the first hook of this match. We'll have to wait and see what other perks are in store, as the only two we know about right now are Corrupt and Thana. However, we have just revealed Scourge, Hook, Pain, Resonance, progressing the most progressed gen by 25%. And we hear the gen up on main pretty well progressed as well. Survivor did drop down. No balanced landing to be had. But looks like they're going to go up to the gen and going to pick it. And that there, friends, well, that there's a blast mine in hand. However, what we're going to see there from the plague is a pop goes the weasel, progressing that gen by 30% of its current progression. So we'll have to wait and see if that's going to slow things down enough at main that the plague might just be able to get another hook between now and when the first gen pops off. However, Rebecca's still fully infected and broken. No cleansing happening here today, and we see them over by Shaq, but looks like the plague not interested in Rebecca. Instead, more interested going around infecting the gens all the while. And ooh, I think I see what they're grabbing next, and that there is going to be their Corrupt Purge. The plague has chosen violence, and looks like they're seeking the Rebecca, who is going to go towards the Shaq. Ooh, and a very close call there by Rebecca. I was wondering if that might have connected. We do see Yui now fully infected and broken as well. And looks like Rebecca will... I was going to say go down, but the Corrupt Purge just barely missing them, and a head-on to boot. I think from the ace coming in clutch. We do see scratch marks back over at Shaq. We hear the Rebecca coughing. Corrupt Purge still in hand. I'm surprised that those stunning will knock the plague out of the power. I'm surprised that head-on or decisive strike does not. That being said, second hook here for Rebecca. This will grant the plague another pop goes the weasel, as we do see the first gen popping off for these survivors. Overall, well played by both teams, and the plague definitely with a lot of pressure here. If they're able to hold these survivors at only one gen completed, even two, with Rebecca being sent past a campfire via the entity, that would be huge for this killer, to say the least, as they are right now in a very commanding position. That being said, two survivors currently infected, one fully healthy. I don't think we'll see the tap or the Yui come in for the unhook, so we'll have to wait and see if the ace comes in. That being said, if they do come in for the unhook, it's going to be very difficult for them to do so without getting fully infected before the plague is able to force a hook trade here. I'll have to wait and see what the plague's plan is. Honestly, if they do get the trade, it might be worth it, as they will be able to Scourge, Hook, Pain, Resonance off the hook. But looks like ace coming in. There's the tap, there's the down. Wait, no, the tap was not fully infected yet. So that will be a 1-for-1 trade instead. Ace is still nearby. All four survivors currently infected. We're soon going to see a full stack of Thanatophobia, slowing the progression of these gens by 22%. Rebecca with Pal Stun though, and Plague hot in pursuit. Plague looking around, hearing the gen nearby pretty well progressed, and looks like we will see the pickup there on the tap, as Rebecca will drop down, and looking like a balanced landing, going to be getting them a little bit of extra distance as they make their way towards the Shack. So well played there by the Rebecca, but now survivors need to really consider cleansing. That's 22% slowdown. That is huge, to say the least. But also, I mean, I was going to say, before the ace cleanse, there also then becomes a discussion of, is it better for the plague to go for the kill here, right? Because the Thanatophobia loses a ton of potency. That being said, Rebecca offering the down underneath the pallet. The Plague knows what that means. And we see what looks to be the tap here, drawing the Plague away. But that tree may have given the Plague enough distance, and it did! Tap going down. I think the pickup here is worth it, especially if there's a Scourge Hook to their right. That is the third gen popping off. And a Scourge Hook Pain Resonance regressing the most progressed gen by 25 resin. I believe that gen right to our right. And we see what looks to be the Rebecca and an infected Ace now. Ace gonna go for the body block, but for what it's worth, it's not gonna mean much as Plague can full infect and get around them. Plague even being as daring to grab their Corrupt Purge here, and Rebecca in a world of hurt as they will go down. No pallet or flashlight save in sight. This is gonna be the Rebecca Sympacted Campfire via the Entity. Honestly, Plague in a really, really good position. I do wonder if slugging after Rebecca here on Deathhook is the right move, because we're gonna go from 22% slowdown with Thanatophobia down to, well, what was gonna be 6, now 4% slowdown instead. Okay, well, the survivors just want to make things difficult for me math-wise, because now it's down to 2%. That being said, Plague with the Corrupt Purge in hand is trying to go for a long-range hit there on the tap, doing a tricky shot there through the window, but not able to connect. And Tap doing a great job using these corners to protect them from this Corrupt Purge. But looks like right after cleansing, they are going to be reinfected now. And if they held that Corrupt Purge, they may have been able to get the hit. There's the vault, there's the swallow off the Corrupt Purge, and the block there on the T-wall, as Tap will make it back to the L-wall, but not without taking a hit first. Honestly, really well played by both sides. Tap just doing a phenomenal job dodging that Corrupt Purge. Do want to point out, Plague missing the opportunity of using a Pop Goes the Weasel there, as they were in the right position to do it on the gen in front of Shaq. Though it looks like Plague going to be bouncing from Corrupt Purge to Corrupt Purge now. Gen's also being slowed down by 6% with the Thanatophobia, as 3 survivors are now broken and injured. But these survivors sound like they're not going to go down without a fight, as they are cranking out these gens. I want to say that's now 3 gens currently at 33% or more, but the down on the tap, beautifully done there by the Plague, threading needle through that window. And this is going to give the Plague a Pop Goes the Weasel in hand, and I'm trying to remember if this will be a Scourge Hook Pain Resonance as well. It will not, as that's the second hook for Tap, but Pop will regress this next kick gen by 30% of its current progression nonetheless. So that is huge for the Plague, to say the least. And it's looking more and more like a potential 2, if not 3K here for the Plague, as we do see a cleanse over here to the side of main and on top of main. Plague in a fantastic position to extend their Corrupt Purge and defend the hook for the next 30 seconds. Going to be very difficult for these survivors to get this unhook without forcing a trade, as we do see another gen pop off here for the survivors. But only 15-20 seconds left before Tap here sent back to Campfire via the Entity. Ace hanging around trying to find an opportunity to come in for the unhook, but I think it will be all for naught, as Ace going to be pushed off further towards main. And Tap here just seconds away before being sent back to Campfire via the Entity, unless Yui is going to come in last moment, which she does not. A aggressive purge there from afar. But with little progression on these gens, looks like Plague going to make her way over to this other gen. A little bit of a 2-1 split in favor of the survivors, though. This is starting to look more and more like a 3K, though a Blast Mine coming in. And looks like we are going to get the kick here and the infection. Scratch marks, I think, went over towards Shaq, but Plague seemingly missing where the Yui went. That being said, both Yui and Ace now going to be able to kind of play a little bit of game of cat and mouse with the Plague, where they're going to be able to really just call out, okay, she's leaving my gen, jump off of yours. Rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. It's going to be a bit slow and drawn out, especially as Thanatophobia is going to start slowing things down by 2% per injured survivor. But, I mean, Plague's going to have to commit to something at some point. both are infected and soon will be leaving a blood trail as well as their scratch marks. We do see Yui here, so I think this is exactly what the Plague needed. This is going to be a fresh hook. If they're able to get this down quickly, they might even be able to stop the Ace from completing their generator as well. Plague going to take the hit and going to go back for the Corrupt Purge. Ace fully infected, meaning that they're on their generator as we speak. Plague, though, thinking about that too, is going to go for the Ace. We do see the gen completed. Exit now powered. Yui in a fantastic position to open up the exit gate on Shaq's side. Scratch marks up on hill, and I believe, I'm trying to see if that was balanced or what was it. But either way, is Ace just going to be holding W for dear life. Yui opening up the exit gate. Potentially a hatch escape attempt here available for the Ace. Play going to have to do a really good job boxing this Ace away from Shaq. There's the vault, the revault. Ace going back, trying to get some distance, but Plague forcing them further and further away from the open exit gate and the hatch. And there it is. There's the down. And the 3K for Plague here at 5 gens completed. Honestly, really good job, especially against this cracked Survivor team. So fantastic job by both sides. And with that being said, we are going to be switching sides here in just a moment with Eternal killing against Infinity Survivor team with the deadliest killer of them all. Though not according to the statistics, the Nurse. So really excited for that. It's going to be interesting to see what these survivors are able to do. All right, and we are back for what could be the final trial of this match. If Infinity is able to get enough hook stages out of the X gate, they will walk away victorious here in set number 2. Eternal's killer, Nightlight, is going to need to get at the very least a 3K 10 hook at 5 gens completed. Otherwise, a 3K at 5 gens completed will result in a tie and a set 3 nonetheless. Otherwise, if they're looking for a victory, they will need to get a 3K 10 hook. That being said, do want to point out survivors are keenly aware of 2 perks. A corrupt intervention, blocking 3 generators for 2 minutes, but also a dying light, which will not be doing all too much right now, but will be able to slow things down by 3% per stack if they do hook non-obsessions. That being said, Dwight narrowly dodging that second blink there, trying to stay upright for as long as possible. That looks to have been a lucky break from the Dwight, though, as we did not see any scratch marks or blood, extending that chase just a little. So cheeky play there, to say the least. The Nurse losing just a little bit of distance as well as line of sight. Dwight trying to go for the fake, but will end up underneath the pallet. Nurse looking around for a survivor. No pitter-patter feet, no savior coming for the Dwight. That'll be 1 stack of dying light, and I do think that the survivors will be now aware of a thrilling tremors, which will have locked the gens that they were not working on by density blockers. And last but not least, we do in fact see a pop goes the Weasel, regressing that gen by 30% of its current progression, as Jake will now be in chase with the Nurse, dragging her further away from their active gen, as well as the hook. First gen popping up for the survivors. Jake going down underneath the pallet. Another survivor is nearby. The Nurse realizes that too, looking around. But no pitter-patter feet once again. You always want to take that quick listen and go, I wonder. Nonetheless, Dwight has been unhooked and healed. Looks like Nurse going to go back to this pretty progressed gen. And looks like they are just going to hang around here. Looks like they are not going to go for the kick on the gen, instead thinking that another gen might have more progression. We'll have to wait and see. That being said, they do find a survivor here, but unsure of where they went. Looks like it is the Dwight once again. A shorter blink by the nurse. A stun on the nurse, but still the injure on the Dwight through the pallet. That must be heartbreaking for the Dwight, to say the least. And looks like we will see a dead hard coming in. A very well-timed dead hard at that from the Dwight. And looks like Dwight says, come on, down me, you know you wanna. We do see scratch marks nearby, suggesting that the survivors are set up for a pallet stun. So, going to be interesting to see if the nurse can actually pick up the Dwight all the while, as they will be working on gens. Nurse, feeling emboldened, will pick him up. But there's the walk-in from the ace, the blind to boot, and Dwight will get a ton of distance here. Looks like they will end up going to Shaq. I'm really curious as to why they threw the pallet, though. I mean, you'd think that after that stun from the ace, it makes sense to just go down underneath of it if you can. Maybe set up for a life play if they're able to go back around. But either way, second hook here for Dwight, and third stack of Dying Light. That's now 9% slowdown on gens that these survivors are experiencing. Mind you, the ace does have a 33% increase in healing speed, though I'm not sure if the trade-off is there nowadays. That being said, nurse looking around, trying to find where the survivor might be. A little under 50%, so that pop goes Weasel. A little bit lackluster. You really want these gens to be at 30% or more, or 50% or more, in order to get some fair value. That being said, Renato taking the hit on the drop down, no bounce landing, giving them any distance. And looks like they're just going to keep the edge map. Nurse, with the very patient strike there, will get the down on Renato. Like I said, at this point in time, they really need to get a 3K10 hook. And we're starting to get there closer and closer. Dwight is one hook away from being sent back to the campfire via the entity, so I imagine they're going to try and stay as far away from the nurse as possible. This here will be a fresh hook on the Renato as well. And we'll have to wait and see what the nurse does now. Third gen popping off here, and hard to say what that or who that survivor was. As you see nurse coming on by, this will be another pop goes the Weasel, but first blast mine gonna burn our retinas just a little bit, slowing down the nurse. But no sign of any survivors. Otherwise, that looks to be the Jake just kind of hanging around, harassing that gen. Nurse faking the blink right there, and Jake just tempting to Nurse to chase them. But Nurse just wanting to hold strong at this choke point. There's the Jake leaving, and there will be the hit. Nurse on point, but the Jake got what they wanted. They got the Nurse away from the unhook on the Renato, so it was a safe unhook. However, Jake will go down after that vault right there. And looks like we will see Renato with the heal. I'm thinking that might be the ace. Either that or Survivor will make it based on how quickly they are healing off of those hooks. We do, however, see second hook here for Renato. Ace now taking a hit. Might end up 1-for-1 trading here, but no, they don't have the distance. This means Ace is going to have to bypass it and hope that they're not going to go down here. There's the lockers tech. They will be able to get a good amount of distance here, since that will be the second blink fatigue. But looks like Nurse wanting to protect their hook will go back to it. 30 seconds on the clock for this survivor here. Otherwise, they will be sent past the campfire via the entity. So far, survivors and killers doing a very good job here. However, Ace being very bold while injured. The survivors can end up going for a 1-for-1 trade. We do see the Ace here, and Ace will go down. Question what the thought process or plan was there. They bought the survivor unhook a little bit of time. If a survivor was able to come in for the unhook, we see the Renato. They're going to get the hit. There's the 1-for-1 trade. Trying to BT hit. There's the BT hit on Jake. There's the fourth generator being completed. Hold up 1 second. If they have another gen primed and ready, this could be at least a 2-man out for the survivors. Now, mind you, the fourth survivor in the last trial escaped fresh. That's 3 escape points. So if, let's say theoretically, the Nurse here gets 9 hooks, that means that they are going to need to get 3 survivors out, no matter what, 3 escape points. But even that would only tie it. So they need to get a 4th hook stage out. Either that or 2 stages, 2 stages on 1 survivor and 1 on each other, a fresh survivor and another. So at the very least, they need to get 2 survivors outside the X gates. If we take a look at the scorecard real quick, I want to say Ace has yet to be hooked, and yeah, that is correct. So Ace is the linchpin here, because if Ace gets hooked, they're going to need to, they still need 1 more hook thereafter. And sure enough, there's the Ace. They're trying desperately to get this last generator. It's still very possible for these survivors to escape via the exit gates. And if Ace is one of the 2, then that is going to result in victory for Infinity. That is huge, to say the least. Nurse looking around, trying to see if they can find a survivor here. Sure enough, there is the Dwight, who has only been... No, Dwight is on death hook. They've been hooked twice now. And looks like Dwight will go down. And Rolling Tremors will activate, blocking these 2 generators. 3rd one, hard to say. We haven't gotten a good look at it. We'll have to wait and see. No survivors here. I think the Nurse may be content with a pop here, but no, there's no entity blockers on main. Nurse doubling black though. Honestly, I have no clue how they saw the Ace there. We now are left with Renato and Ace. Ace with a fresh hook, Renato with 1 hook in. If in instance the Nurse kills Renato right now, that will result in a tie set. So no matter what, regardless of the number of gens completed hereafter, if Nurse camps the Renato to death, that will be a tie set, forcing a set 3. However, big if here, the Ace is able to finish the last gen, unhook the Renato, and somehow, by some miracle, by the entity's blessing, the survivors escape via the X gate or hatch, they will walk away victorious. So a really, really close situation here, to say the least. That being said, only 30 seconds left on Renato's 2nd hook stage. Like I mentioned, if they die on hook, that is the tie condition, no matter what, is met. Regardless of the last gen being completed, we'll be going to a set number 3. So honestly, really well played by both teams, and I want to point something out here in set 3. We are going to be seeing a singularity from Eternal against Infinity playing the Nurse. So a lot of people were questioning why Nurse was not brought as a mirror here on Cold Tower. And I think Infinity was playing the long game, because now there's a possibility of their Nurse outperforming Eternal Singularity. We'll have to wait and see. And hold up, that was the 5th generator completed. So this is actually huge for this reason alone. That's the 5th gen, that's 2 points, meaning that this is a tie set. If in instance the Ace were to somehow escape via the exit. It's not happening. Okay. Maybe I shouldn't say anything, but man, that was close. That was seconds. If the Ace had a health state to give, I think that would have been an out, and that would have been a tie set here in set number 2. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane performance by Infinity's Survivor team, so really well done. There's no way of discounting Infinity and their performance thus far. That being said, Nightlight doing a fantastic job as well, keeping cool under a ton of pressure from Infinity's Survivor team. And with that being said, we are going to get set up for set number 3 here. But before we do... All right, and we are back for set number 3, trial number 1. And we got ourselves a very early start here, as we are seeing the denied requisition form come into play. All 4 survivors start with the slipstream attached to them. It's going to be interesting to see how these survivors play around that, though. Doing a good job so far staying out of line of sight. There is the Slipstream, and a very early hit on the ace. Honestly, we have not seen a lot, if any, Singularity in COTF. So it's going to be very interesting to say the least, as we will see a very quick down here on the ace. EMPs take about 30 seconds longer to spawn as well. So we'll have to wait and see how strong this add-on is, since we don't have a lot of data to go off of. This has yet to be banned. And so for those of you interested in that, and the reasoning behind that, play more Singularity, give us more data. We'll probably end up banning this add-on next season if it performs well. That being said, Singularity looking around, and very good start here. We also have seen 2 other perks, rather 3. Of course, the good old trusty Corrupt Intervention, blocking the generators at the start for the first 2 minutes for what it's worth. But also, we did see a Scourge Hook Pain Resonance, on top of which these survivors also keenly aware of the existence of Sloppy Butcher, which will slow things down quite significantly. Singularity going for another slipstream here. Dwight doing a good job not dropping the pallet, but getting down at the filler. Fillers are the survivor's worst nightmares with slipstreams still applied, and ooh, another survivor as well. This is on Renato this time, and I imagine they're going to get some good distance, but maybe not enough. That's the thing about slipstream, right? It just gets you so much raw distance off of that hit. And you can't do that. Exactly what we saw there. Renato had the time necessary to pre-drop the pallet. Because they didn't, they ended up getting the pallet stun on the overclock instead. So kind of insane to think, say the least. But all the slipstreams have now been removed, with the exception of Daimo, who is still on the ground and yet to be hooked. However, Dwight now back up, slipstream on the Dwight. They're going to be able to pre-drop this, but going for the swing early. And, ooh, no, there's the EMP. The survivors got the EMP just in the nick of time, so no slipstream here on this. But the thing is, the Dwight just kind of stuck here. There it is, no pre-drop. No, they got the pre-drop in time. The brutal strength kick from the overclock. No line of sight for the slipstream, but there's a pallet, but I don't think they make it. No, they do, just barely. They're not going to go for the slipstream either. Just going to take control of the pallet, and yeah, Dwight going to go down. Going to get grabbed at the window, as that was a mid-vault. Honestly, some really action-packed gameplay from the Singularity. It's not something that we see being played all too often. So really excited to say the least, and not sure what the game plan was there for the survivors. Maybe just trying to fake out a Sabo on the hook there, or what. But either ways, we saw the ace and the Renato there. And we see Singularity trying to set up a camera to get a slipstream onto the ace, who is in this back corner. We do see what looked to have been the 1-for-1 exchange from the Jake, but no. Instead, slipstream on the ace. The quick vault there as well. Pallet gonna go down, and just in the nick of time as overclock has ended. There's the Anuk on the survivor as well, and looks like Singularity trying to get a read on where they are to apply slipstream before the heal. And there it is. There's the slipstream on the Jake. They're going to need to get some more gens here as soon as possible. Looks like Dwight with the EMP in hand. And I want to say the ace as well. No, that's Renato. Renato is also back here, so 2 injured survivors. That is the worst case scenario here for Infinity, to say the least. We're going to see the slipstream, no pallet throw. So though the Dwight goes down, they did not waste a resource all the while, for what it's worth. Jennifer here, pretty well progressed, but not all too much. 3 stacks of Scourge Hook Pain Resonance have been used. As far as, I'm not sure if we have revealed the 4th perk yet. I want to say we've only revealed 3: Sloppy Butcher, Scourge Hook Pain Resonance, and Corrupt Intervention. 4th perk yet to be seen. But so far, Singularity doing a fantastic job. Want to talk about also the 2nd add-on here. Soma Family Photo grants 5% haste during overclock mode, but reduces the overclock by 20%. So you can see why Singularity here has been so aggressive with their slipstreams. We do see another survivor here. That looks to be the Jake, trying to get the line of sight for the slipstream there. We are going to see the unhook in front of the Singularity, and a for the people on the Dwight. Jake making their way over to the pallet, but the Singularity does not care. They're just going to go for the Dwight here, who is going to have to get this pallet. Overclock will end shortly, but getting reset quickly. There's the pallet stun, but the slowdown enough that the Dwight was able to block. There is the Jake with the body block, though. Singularity with another slipstream on Dwight's back. They're going to be able to run the vault here. I mean, in this scenario of how progressive Nightlight has been with the Singularity, vaults are your best friend, but the Dwight just not able to get anywhere quick enough. One from a locker. I doubt there's a head-on play, but you never know. And looks like Survivors will complete 3 generators here. I think they are in damage control here, as these Survivors need to just get gens completed. Set up their nurse for the best case scenario here. This is hectic. This is like off the walls. Honestly, I apologize to you who have motion sickness because the camera snapping is just nuts. But honestly, this is a lot of fun to watch. Hopefully y'all are enjoying it too, as I want to say it is probably some of the best, if not the best, Singularity gameplay that we've seen on COTF thus far. I'm hoping for more of it, as we will see the ace hit with that slipstream as well. Nightlight gonna reset a few of their cameras in passing, and looks like, ooh, Ace doing a good job avoiding the slipstream, but getting caught here. And looks like they will get to the vault in time, especially with the fast vault. Overclock giving them a little bit of distance, though, as Ace will take the hit and make their way over towards main. But the Singularity in hot pursuit, and there's no way you make that window, even with the current fast vault in play. As we will see 2 survivors here. Looks like a slipstream applied to Jake. Renato nowhere to be found, I will note. And looks like we are going to find finally a moment of calm, though not a long one, as we are going to see the ace get hooked here. And that will be their second hook. There is a survivor who has yet to be hooked on a Scourge. I'm trying to see who is fresh. Looks like that is the Jake as of right now, who has evaded being hooked here by Nightlight, the Singularity. That being said, 2 gens remaining. I imagine these survivors just trying their best. Jake trying to evade getting hit by slipstream there, and will just barely. The gaps in the railing just unable. And Renato doing a great job hearing that the Singularity is going into the camera there. We will see these survivors just making use of every single angle that they can to avoid the line of sight. However, Renato getting found out. There's the pre-jump and another pallet up ahead. I wonder if that would be the right move to go there now. Looks like we are going to go towards main building. The unhook on the ace. Are there any pallets nearby? There are not. Renato in a world of hurt. They'll not get to this pallet in time, but will be underneath it unless these survivors planned it ahead of time. I doubt that they'll get the pallets done. No pallets done here to save the Renato. And that will be Renato 1 hook away from being sent back to campfire via the entity. Jake, the only one yet to be hooked. And a blast mine coming on in, which will blind the Singularity for a short bit of time. Last perk, by the way, being revealed on Singularity is, of course, the good old pop goes the weasel for aggressing that gen by 30% of its current progression. That being said, looking around for where they might be, we do see the ace, but not able to get the tag because it was too close to the unhook. One thing to keep in mind is that the Singularity cannot really camp effectively with their cameras. And looks like they're looking around to try and tag another survivor. Nightlight doing a really good job putting their cameras in some really good positions to kind of cut off line of sight. So you can tell that Nightlight has put a lot of time into this killer, trying to get the slipstream there on Jake, Ooh, Jake just narrowly out of position, but an EMP at the last moment. Not sure who set that off, but that's the 4th generator being completed by these survivors. Honestly, some freaking amazing gameplay here by both survivors and killer. Just second, like, small little choices making all the difference, as looks like Ace will be tagged by the slipstream. Nightlight's in up for another camera, but unable to get the hit on that tree. And looks like they're going to be trying to guard the gen here on this corner, as it's pretty well progressed. Yeah. Nightlight probably looking at that, being a little bit concerned. The camera in main able to protect that, and as well as the other gen taking their time now. They can kind of just wait out the gen a little bit, but they need to be careful. EMPs are up and running. So far, no sign of any survivors nearby that gen. Potentially going to venture out further. No one on main either. Survivors might just be going for EMPs here. Yeah, not seeing anyone. No one on any of the gens right now. So this is a little bit of a 3-gen, made even smaller by the fact that Singularity can hit the survivors with the slipstream and then overclock thereafter. So Nightlight in a very powerful position here with 1 gen remaining. The problem is, even if the gens were further split, let's say a 2-1 split, Singularity is just able to make the map feel so small. You can only really make use of the EMPs to try and give yourself some breathing room. But as we see the Jake there just hiding from these cameras, and some of these cameras are just so far away that 1 EMP does not cover them all in the main building either. Looks like Jake getting reapplied, that slipstream there. Looks like Nightlight gonna reset some of these cameras. And there it is, there's the overclock and slipstream on the Jake. They have yet to be hooked thus far and are going to try and get a little bit of distance. Nightlight a bit concerned about the gen in main, and for good reason. There's the break and the overclock, but they're not able to get the hit, as Jake will make their way over to the other side of that vault. And yeah, Singularity going to have to go back towards main, as there's 2 survivors there. It only takes 45, 50 seconds until that gen's completed, though Ace running into the Singularity. That is heartbreaking for these survivors, I would imagine. And looks like Singularity going to be looking around, seeing if they're on the other gen. Another blast mine coming in, that insult to injury. These survivors doing a fantastic job managing the slipstreams. They're healing everything. And looks like an EMP has been used over by that gen. Nightlight has to be thinking about that too, and potentially has come to terms with the fact that they're going to lose that generator. Renato now in chase. There it is. There's the 5th generator. Starting to look like a potential 2-man out, where before it was looking like it was going to be a 4K here for the Singularity. This is quite significant, to say the least, and I just love how precise these survivors are being in avoiding the Singularity and their slipstreams. They are just like, every time they get hit by the slipstream, they just keep right out of camera's view. And we see the X gates aren't well covered by the cameras either. We see one of them actually going to be opened as we speak. There's the slipstream and the overclock, but Ace is injured. I think they end up going down here. Yeah, sure enough, there's the down on the Ace. Exit gate is 99 and open. Renato not wanting to take any risk. This is looking like a 2-man out, but no, a pallet here. But no, pallet stun coming to save the Ace. Now, mind you, Ace has not been hooked. So this is the first, wait, no. Sorry, Jake has not been hooked. Ace has been hooked. So this will be a 2K at the very least for the Singularity, and a 2-man out for Infinity's Survivor team. Honestly, some really, really amazing gameplay by both sides. I absolutely love that. Hopefully you all did too. All right, and we are back for the final trial of this match of Eternal versus Infinity. And we got Infinity killing against Eternal Survivor team as the nurse on the Mount Ormond Resort. And they are going to need a 2K8 hook to tie the set. but win the match. Because of the point difference in set number 1, Infinity is currently on top in overall match points, meaning that if Infinity ties set 3, they will win the overall tiebreaker. So, gonna be quite interesting to say the least. That being said, let's go over the perks that we know so far, that of which being, of course, a good old Corrupt Intervention, as 3 gens are gonna be blocked by the entity for 2 minutes. But survivors are also keenly aware of a Dying Light in play, which is going to slow things down by 3% per stack, gained by hooking non-obsessions. We'll have to wait and see how that comes into play. That being said, Nurse finding a survivor here in this back corner. Like I said, all they need to get is a 2k8 hook in order to walk away victorious here. However, as you can imagine, these survivors pretty well learned against the likes of Nurse with Nightlight on their team. So we'll have to wait and see if Doc is up to the task here, as they're going to blink pretty far into Shack. Trying to see or figure out where the ace might be. And yeah, that was a lucky break. I was thinking that might be the Nurse did too. And sure enough, a lucky break in play, removing the scratch marks and blood trail from the ace. And with that pickup, we do see another perk from the Nurse, that of which being a Thrilling Tremors, blocking the gens where survivors are not with the entity blockers. Nurse now knowing that there is one survivor in main, most likely, as well as another elsewhere, but Nurse sensing someone over here, taking a quick look. We'll have to wait and see, as 2 gens are now completed. As far as the first perk is concerned, we do not know what it is. We'll have to wait and see as time goes on. But Nurse just holding the choke point here. 30 seconds left on the clock before the ace is going to be progressed to second stage. Looks like Claudette going for the unhook. Nurse going to go for the blink, will get the trade, but Ace will get a lot of distance, as we will see the instant pickup here. Now, I do want to note, as far as the win condition is concerned, if we're looking at it really quickly, there was a 2K of 17 points. Fresh hook across all survivors would be 12, an additional 5, meaning that'd be a 1K. Yeah, 1K, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1K 7 hook. A 1K 7 hook would also get there if you get a fresh hook on each individual survivor. That would be a tie condition as well. But 3rd gen popping off for Eternal Survivor team. They're doing a fantastic job. Nurse doing a good job faking that extended blink, as we will take that corner into Shack, but going down nonetheless. And this here will not be a stack of Dying Light, only 6% slowdown across the non-obsessions as of right now. And looks like we are going to see the Nurse going out towards the main building, as there are no entity blockers on that generator, at least none that I can see. Nurse looking around too in case there's a survivor coming in for an unhook. A decent amount of progression on this gen, and looks like the 4th perk will not be revealed, as we get a little bit interrupted by good old Blast Mine, burning out the retinas of both us and the Nurse. However, the 4th perk was in fact a Pop Goes the Weasel, regressing most progressed gen by 30%. We see the Nurse looking back at that gen. Looks like someone came in and touched it. And looks like we're trying to keep Nightlight in the basement there for as long as possible. About 20 seconds left before they do progress to second stage. Ace with the sprint burst, and Nurse just not with enough distance to make it work. Keep in mind, the only healthy survivor that can go for the unhook, though, is in fact the Jake. And I do believe we are going to see a progression second stage in basement. That is huge for this killer, as they are going to get closer and closer to their win condition. That being said, they cannot let up pressure now, as these survivors are not going to back down either. The gen here nearly completed. 2 gens in a pretty good spot. Ace going to be hanging around in the main building, and there's the unhook. This could only be the Claudette or the Jake. We'll have to wait and see who. We see them round the corner outside of Maine, or outside of Shack rather, and just trying to keep them here over in Shack. We hear the Yui. This would be a survivor dead, but just barely overshooting the survivor and fatiguing out to boot. A heartbreaking moment for the nurse to be sure, but a joyous one for these survivors. One gen popping off. Yui trying to go into basement. That will be the down. Is there a decisive strike in the mix? Ooh. Nurse either smelling a decisive strike, which would make sense because we know for most cases, based on how it works, we know for a fact that the survivor who is the obsession does not have for the people and is more likely to have decisive based on how DBD works. That is going to be the hit on Jake. If they can follow this up and get it down, this might be enough. Hold up. There's the extended blink on the nurse. The stun on them as well. Jake making some distance. There's the down. Hold up. Claudette is back up off the ground, either unbreakable or a quick pickup on the go. They still have a chance of winning this, but it's going to be a nail biter, folks. Looks like Ace trying to come around to support the Jake, but a sprint burst getting them pretty far away. There's the exit gate opened, and I think if they get the 3-man out, that will secure victory for Eternal. It is going to be a close one, to say the least, because I don't think they've gotten fresh hooks on everyone. Let me take the scorecard real quick. Wait, hold up one moment. Jake is the last fresh hook. If they force Jake to death right now, that's an additional 3 points. That would 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, I think that would result in a win by 1 point in Eternal's favor. By 1 point, because of how the escape points work. So if they escape right now, I believe that's how that would work, because we have Ace on 2 hooks. That is, I think that would be enough in favor. No, is it? No, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4. No, it would be a tie set. Okay, no, I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy, you're crazy. Okay, doing the quick math, this is going to be a tie set, I think. Hold up, let's see. That is 17 points in favor. And how many escape points? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that 5 or 4? And Claudette out as well. Yeah, I was right. No, I was right. Is 1 point difference. I kept on doing the math in my head. But sure enough, there it is. A 1 point difference in favor of Eternal.